Okay, sorry, my camera is not working this evening, but I am Heidi, and we welcome you guys to another episode of DCTV430, digitally connected through voice. For women, 30 minutes. It is Cinco de Mayo, and is there no better excuse for a celebration? Of course not. And this month is filled with them. In this episode, we like to party like a piñata and offer congrats. It's a stay tuned. Woo! I am Heidi from Sin City, Las Vegas, aka. And this ginger spice is always on fire. I teach in the 5th largest school district in America. And we are thrilled to have you here. And I want to do a secret shout out and say Happy Mother's Day. Dorian, it's you.
Hey, I'm Dr. D, coming at you from Channel 3. No, just playing. Okay, that's my last hip-hop rap. I'm retired.
Good.
My single. My name is Dr. Dorian Roberts, and I'm coming live from Detroit, Michigan. I am a 5th grade teacher from, come closer, that district. Detroit Public Schools District. So we're going to be talking about that later on in the show. I am representing Detroit Federations of Teachers. We need all the support we can get, and I'm going to hand it on over to you, Christy Kate.
I am Christy Kate. I am a digital innovation consultant from Abilene, Texas, where I work with 42 school districts out here in the rural part of the country. And we are glad to have you with us on DCTV 430. Right now, we don't have Valerie Lewis sitting in our hot seat with us, but that's okay. We hope to have her a little bit later. And I'm going to kick us off a little bit because today is Cinco de Mayo. When Valerie gets in with us, she's going to share some things about Cinco de Mayo. But I'll say this. I live in Texas, and all day today, we've had a great time celebrating and eating some chips and hot sauce all day long. So I'm going to have a recipe for all of you out there.
That looks absolutely delicious.
We're going to talk about hot sauce. Fast, easy, and quick. 1 can of whole tomatoes, a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of olive oil, garlic, salt, some chopped onions in a blender. Get some every time. Hot and spicy. Add some red pepper flakes. Good to go.
Yes.
Don't even have to chop up the jalapenos, ladies.
Yes, Justin over here at the side, he said I could be your hot sauce expert for y'all.
Justin, if you want to jump in and tell us your favorite, I like homemade hot sauce. But what do you like, Justin? Go ahead and call in. You can step in and let us know. Justin says he loves that shizzle.
Justin love a little bit of everything, Lord Jesus. Oh, here we come.
I'll accept him for you.
Brace yourself.
Here it is, my people.
Tips to you, Justin.
First, I love me some hot sauce. Love it. So, I'll tell you a very quick story, then I'll bounce because I don't want to take on. Basically, went to an ed camp a couple months ago. They had this hot sauce there. It was breakfast. They had these little things of hot sauce called Hank's Hot Sauce at ed camp. Why is hot sauce sitting out at the table? The students went to that school and donated the hot sauce to the ed camp called Hank's Hot Sauce. Then I went to another ed camp a couple months later. This was last weekend. I roll up. I go to this store that's selling popcorn, all this different types of popcorn. And I see on the shelf, Hank's Hot Sauce. So these kids are like 20-something years old, started the whole business. It is delicious. And Christy Kate homemade is phenomenal. So I love me some hot sauce. Thanks for having me. I'll be on the side typing away.
Peace out, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
That's awesome. We talk about celebrations this month because I don't know about you, but May seems to be the time of celebrations. I have received in the mail quite a few of these graduation announcements. We got kids that are heading off to college. So I'm going to give a shout out to one of my favorite places to go for cool economical gifts, and that's Etsy. If you haven't visited the Etsy store, there will be 2 places that I'll have Rachel put on our website this week. One of those places is called Lexicon. And I'll show you really quickly these Lexicon Delights. They take the college or the university of choice where the kids might be going and do really cool graphics for students and include their names in it. So they're like part of the history of the school. So I've gotten several of these. Another place that I would recommend you look is the Pearly Rose Originals. I've gotten some really cool gifts for guys that are made out of old license plates that they cut up and put really cool gifts together. So with that thought in mind, I want you to know that I will post that on our website so you can find those links, because those are cool places to go. Also been a lot of wedding invitations coming around. I know girls plan all the time on Pinterest. We won't really get into Pinterest tonight. We got way too many other things to celebrate and party about. But I found something very interesting just a couple of weeks ago when it comes to the baby planning. First of all, Dorian, you got a 15-year-old son.
Right. And I when we talk about the title, congratulations, it ain't me. It's not me.
She's not her.
It's not me. I no longer make any more models. It's not me. I'm not that girl. Sorry. Go ahead, Chrissy K.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you do a gender reveal party 15 years ago?
No.
Did you do that?
David was quite revealing by himself.
There you go. It is really popular right now for all of the pregnant moms to do these gender reveal parties. I had a friend recently who did a baby Q instead of a barbecue. And they busted a big piñata. There was a question mark that was half pink, half blue, and they didn't even know what it was going to be. Justin says to cut the cake, blue or pink. Absolutely. It's kind of crazy. But what I came across 2 weeks ago on the internet blew me away. Did you know, and here's your second option for a job, people. If you're a teacher and you need another job, that you can pay someone to name your baby. That there are baby naming services that will spend up to 30 hours to find the very perfect baby name for your child. And one of the sentences that totally jumped out at me says that there's a firm in Switzerland that charges, are you ready for this? Hey, Dorian, come closer. Over $29,000 for every baby it names.
Let me tell you, as a teacher of an urban school district, you can get me at $25,999.
You're a bargain. You're a bargain.
I could cut off the price for you.
You know, it blew me away. And they were saying,
I can put a whole bunch of lies and shushas and quaquas right in front of your name. Quashan, la la. I could do it.
I'm quoting Bloomberg.com, and I will link to this article as well. Sherry Suzanne, who runs a company called My Name for Life in New York City, said her services begin at several $100s, and she'll spend 30 hours running a single name report to tell you the perfect name for your child.
Really?
Crazy. I actually will undercut Dorian. For $500, I'll name your baby. Not a problem. Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
So now we got some side comments on the side. Sarah says, could you please name my baby?
Absolutely.
I got Ray, who says, Dr. D, we have what is that? Calligraphy at my school. Ray, what is that? Can you? Oh,
calligraphy with a K.
Oh, Lord Jesus, calligraphy at my school. And you know what? Cursive writing is a lost art. I wish Derek was able to tune in, because he talks about handwriting and penmanship all the time. All right, let's keep it going. All
right, well, I'm going to turn it over to Heidi, because we've been talking about baby names, and Dorian, you just touched on Ray. So Heidi, I'll kick it off to you.
Oh, yes. Speaking of baby names, I have learned through one of my PLN groups that we have a friend that has recently become a grandmother for the first time. Ooh. So we want to call Ray Wood upon us to come and join us to explain to us this big congrats of this new addition as her family is starting to expand.
Okay, where's Ray? You hear, Ray? There you go.
Hi, sorry, I'm kind of dark.
All right. Hey, Ray.
Hi.
Hey, Ray.
Can you hear me?
Okay, Heidi. All right, well, Ray, one of the things that I wanted to, or we wanted to talk about is Ray has a book out, and the name of the book is called The Phoenix Rising, a Survivor Story. Could you please tell us about your book, Ray?
Sure. I wrote my book in 2012, and it just chronicles basically the life that I led up until that point with abuse and how my daughter came to exist.
Okay. For those of us who have been, I'm sorry, for those of us who have been, are familiar with you, what is primarily your book about? Just
it is basically about the abuse that I suffered at the hands of my stepfather, who I call my step monster, and just how I kind of overcame what happened as I was younger.
And I'm going to ask, could everybody mute their sounds so that Heidi can interview Ray? I'm going to do this.
Thank you, Dr. Dorian, for continuing it for me. What were the signs that encouraged you to write your book?
Really, it really just kind of started as a reflection. As it was happening, as some of the things were happening in 2012, I just needed to write it down. And the more that I wrote, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna publish this. And that I just wrote it down because it helped me process what I was going through.
Did any of your teachers miss signs of what was happening to you over those years?
Absolutely. Not one single person knew until 2012. Not one. They never suspected, they never asked. And if they did suspect, they never told me.
How, I want to switch it to something. How did it feel when you were able to be in the room to meet your grandbaby for the very first time?
I can't even describe it. A friend of mine who is also a new grandma told me there's nothing like being a grandmother. And I was like, whatever, I didn't believe it. And then the first time I saw that little boy, I was like, wow, she was right. It's just different than being a mom. Especially because of what I went through to have his mom. There's just, I don't know, he just makes me happy. I just smile thinking about him. He definitely stolen my heart, and he's only 3 weeks old. So,
wow, that is really, really nice. Let me see. Tell me about. Go ahead, Heidi. I'm sorry, I was trying to take over while you were out for a second. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. My face comes and goes. It's kind of weird. I'm like a ghost, literally. Sorry about that. As you were gone, I know your students were missing you. What were some of your favorite notes or comments that they responded back for your, I think you were gone 3 to 4 weeks. What were your comments or notes that your students said that just stuck with you on showing appreciation on the impact you have on their lives?
honestly, I think the biggest one didn't come directly from a student. Right before I came back to work, our counselor sent me a message and said one of my toughest students, who told me to my face, I can't wait for you to leave, told the counselor she couldn't wait for me to come back. because I'm tough on my students because they need that. I mean, I'm not mean to them, but just giving them kind of the tough love, and they didn't have that while I was gone. So for her to say that was really cool. And I have had so many cards and notes given to me in the last 2 weeks since I've been back that I don't have room to put them up on the wall anymore. So it was like me being gone was hard for them, but I think they appreciated just how much I do push them, because when I came back, they almost knocked me over when I came out to pick them up on the playground. So it was a pretty big deal.
And that is wonderful. And those are one reason that keep us inspired, to keep us going. We appreciate it. Valerie and Dr. Dorian, do you have any other questions that you would like to ask?
How about you, Valerie?
All right. Well, I would. Because of and we do have an audience question for you, Ray. Has you stepped in to save any kids?
Yeah.
Lives or any?
Okay. 2 years ago, actually 4 years ago, I had second grade, and then 2 years ago, I had fourth grade. So I had some of my students again, and one of my students I'd had her both times, came to school with a knife. And she didn't come to school with that knife to hurt anybody else, but as a cry for help. And because I understood what it's like to feel like nobody listens to you, I was able to intervene in that situation. And it's an automatic expulsion when the knife is a certain length. And I went to my principal and basically spilled my story to him and said, we have to help her. And they did. They called it a mental health crisis instead so that she could stay at school. And we got her and her mom the help that they needed to be able to move forward.
That sounds great. Great. I'm happy that you were able to help your students in that manner. And most importantly, I am going to say that I am very, very happy that you came forth and documented your story. But I do want people to have our audience member to have a clear understanding of what it is you wrote. In the book, The Phoenix Rising, A Survivor Story, Ray Ashwood was sexually abused by her stepfather, who she calls her step monster. And in that, her daughter is a product of that sexual abuse between her and her stepfather. I would love if we have a link on the side that Christy K has published on Amazon if you're interested in getting the ebook and reading it and just hearing how she is, in my opinion, she really turned lemons. Ray really turned lemons into lemonade. And we just wanted to take time out of the show to applaud her for it. She is a fellow educator here in Michigan. You know, I always have to, make sure that Michigan is representing all the time. So, and she teaches in Grand Rapids, because some people say, the bigger the state, the closer to God. I ain't gonna say no names. I'm not gonna say no names. Somebody that had a 45-minute commercial on her state, but I'm not gonna go there because she's one of my virtual besties, and I love her to death. So, Ray, I thank you for sharing your story. I want you to stick around because we're ready to go in a segment or so. We're going to be talking about education in Michigan, and I really would like your voice to be heard as well if you wouldn't mind sticking around. Does that sound okay with you?
Yep, I can do that.
And Ray, I just want to say for all of those who might be watching who haven't had the pleasure of spending time virtually in Ray's world, she's a fabulous educator. She loves her kids passionately, and nothing in her past has hurt the person that she is for those students. And in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, I want you to know that those of us who are your virtual PLN who have gotten to know you, respect what you have to say and to share, and we are thankful for you and glad that we have people like you in the classroom.
Thank you.
Yes, we definitely do. And your story has inspired us, and I know it's inspired many other people as well, that there is light at the end of that dark cloud.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you for joining us, Ray.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, am I missing something? Can we go on to the next segment? Because y'all know I'm fired up.
Fire it off.
Okay, so this is my time.
Before you fired it off, let's end with one positive note. Anyone want to share anything special about teacher appreciation, or want to thank a teacher that they haven't, that they want to thank today, or share anything before we get to the hot and dirty of the big D, MAMI, Michigan?
Yeah, anybody on the sidelines want to say anything about anything? I'll say this. I am from a family of educators, and I want to thank my grandmother, who was a business teacher and an accounting teacher, my grandfather, who was a history teacher and a coach, who became a principal, my mother, who was an elementary teacher and a librarian, my father, who became a principal where his father had been a principal 30 years before him, my brother, who is a coach and a PE teacher, my sister-in-law, who's a 5th grade teacher. This girl was not going to be in education because guess what? It was real obvious to me that I would never be rich in education. I got a degree in business, but my calling was from the blessed people that were educators in my life, and I went back to school to become a teacher, and I have not looked back. I love being with other educators. So my shout out is to all my family members who eventually always knew apparently that I was going to come back to education, but who encouraged me all the way.
How about you, Heidi?
It's been a great week, and I love my kids. I have a passion. I love the knuckleheads. They're all knuckleheads, but I like the ones that give me a run for my money. It's fun to peel those onions away. And one of them, the teacher's like, "Oh, you'll never get him to read. He doesn't want to do anything." Well, this year, somehow I figured it out. And in this little note he gave me, he's like, "Thank you so much for teaching me to read. And something I'll always remember is you walked to the car to tell my mom that I'm doing much better in school, and I appreciate it." So those little things, it's like, whew, we can crack the eggs. We just have to figure out how to get there. And knowing our students and communities is crucial. So I want to thank that. And also I want to thank my mom and dad for always, and family and friends for supporting. And I have a great PLN. And before we get to Detroit and Dr. D, happy Mother's Day, everyone. Happy Mother's Day.
Well, before I even begin talking about Detroit, I got a couple of shout outs myself. First of all, we have some newcomers to Blab. We have a couple of people, audience members from the D. We have Lachelle Warner. And I think we also have we had Paula for a little while, some good friends of mine who came out to support tonight from Detroit. And I wanted to thank my own family, my mom. My mother is an interesting woman in herself in her own right. She is, wow. My mother was probably one of the first women to help train the military on different machinery. She worked at General Dynamics, I believe, for 31 years. And y'all already know, I don't know, my mother makes me, what do you want to call it? Be a lady, do the right thing, that kind of thing. I'm very, very proud of my mother. She has made sure that my voice is heard, that I know how to stand up for myself, and that I know how to fight a good fight. And that is something that I definitely got from her. So now we're going to kick back for a minute. Now, this next segment, ladies and gentlemen, this next segment was really, really supposed to be about how we honor mothers and fathers with Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up. But of course, since I've been in the midst of the fire, I am a 5th grade teacher and I work for Detroit Public Schools. And I have to tell you that if you haven't been underneath a semi truck or you haven't been shoveled by a crane, I have to tell you, Detroit Public Schools is in the worst imaginable state of affairs that one could ever imagine. I have been sick on Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to start with the first issue. And listen, I want everybody to chime in. We have community members. We have other teachers from other states. We have other teachers within the state of Michigan that have worked for school districts where wonderful Governor Snyder, and I do say that facetiously, has tried to take over their school district, has tried to charter school the district out and all that great stuff that he thinks he's doing. He is literally running the state with a coupon, like he's on extreme couponing, and he's running the districts into it as well, too. So I'm going to start off with what happened on Saturday. So I'm sitting at home, I'm washing my clothes. I got a couple of social things going on in my life that I'm preparing for. I'm washing my clothes. I put a second load of laundry in, and I get an email from the superintendent. And the email is at my work email address, which I have on my phone. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it's something like, hey, happy Teachers Appreciation Week, that same rigmarole that you would get from your superintendent, but I have an emergency manager. So anyway, I read the letter, and the letter basically says that if this bill does not pass legislators, that I, a 26 pay employee, will not get paid after June 30th. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with spread the pay, they take out a certain amount of money out of your check so they can spread the pay during the summer. It's money you already work. It has nothing to do with working summer school. It has nothing to do with, picking up a crumb here or there or tutoring or Title I. It's your money. It's your money that you decided to spread over the summer months. Now, when I first came to Detroit Public Schools, I came in working I could only sign up for 22 pays because I came in too late. So all summer long, Heidi knew me, Christy Kate knew me. I was a struggling sister with my 22 pays, and I didn't get paid any money over the summer. So when I went up to the Board of Education, I elected for 26 pays. So I wouldn't have to worry about it, whether I decided to do summer school or not. So I'm like shaking my phone. This is how I was when I read from Judge Rowe's email saying that I wasn't going to get paid after June 30th if I did one of these.
Well, geez, Dorian. You worked only 9 months. Why get paid during the summer?
My math is horrible. Okay, but it ain't that daggone horrible. Okay.
Well, and Dorian, I'm from Texas, and I can tell you we do the same thing. We can opt to have our paycheck spread over the summer, and yes, it's a lot less every month than it would be, so that we can get that paycheck. And most of us know you pay your bills once a month, and you want to be able to have that same income coming in the summer. So, girl, all the way down here in Texas, we totally understand from the education perspective. If you've opted for that check to spread out, you're counting on it so you can get your bills paid.
Right. And if you decide to do summer school, that's another check on top of the check you have. But you still have your baseline check. And from what I understand over here in the comment section, Sarah understands, Ray seems to understand, and Lachelle says she's in support of DPS teachers. So then the next email we get is from Detroit Federation Teachers Union interim president Ivy Bailey. who I love Ivy, and I do know her personally. And she says that's not what we were told. They said they would have the money. But the bigger question is, that money should have been in escrow. Where in the heck did that money go? And I want you professional, we're all professional, but I want you to understand this is the equivalent of going to the bank and you find out that there is money there and that your money is gone after you just made a deposit, your last paycheck, and your money is gone. Is there anybody who wants to chime in and talk about what you think your reaction will be if you found out on a Saturday morning that you actually worked last Thursday and Friday for free?
And Dorian, while we're waiting for him to call in, I can just tell you from our perspective on the outside of Detroit Public Schools, hearing about it, the thought of you having emergency managers that step in. This is how many has this been this year? 2?
Right now, if you want to come on down, you can be emergency manager if you want.
Well, and so somebody who came in to save the day did not look at where the budget was allocated, said, oh, here's $31 million. Let's use that to pay off this moment, we're all good. Never even copped to the fact they didn't know what they were doing when they took the money.
So
that's what it would seem like from way down south.
Yeah.
Well, I think they knew what they were doing and they don't care. But I'll leave that opinion. I think they have a motive. I watched some of the legislature stuff last night. Most of the people are white. I think they have another motive. I really do. They've already teared apart one urban district in Michigan. Detroit's another urban district that they got. They've already messed up with Flint.
And we've had the same emergency manager as the wonderful Flint, Michigan had when it came to the water. And he denies, he didn't do anything. That's what he said in the congressional hearings. So now they're passing this bill. You know what, Ray, would you like to come back in here and talk about Muskegon? Because Ray is on the west part of the state of Michigan. So she's going to come in and talk about it.
Sorry, I'm still hidden here. Let's see if I can move over there. I don't know a ton about Muskegon because I don't live over there. It's a little bit farther west than I am, but they basically came in and took over that whole district and turned it all into a charter district. And it's still struggling. Students are failing, and I'm just going to tell you, the kids over there are African American. That's the message that I'm getting as a white woman who teaches in an urban district, that, well, if your skin is brown, it doesn't matter what we do to you. They're still children. They're still people. It does matter. It does matter. And I feel very scared with what's going on in Detroit because who's going to be next? You have Muskegon. Most of the students are African American. You have Flint. Many of the students are African American. You have Detroit. Do you notice the pattern here? What's going to happen? What's going to happen in Grand Rapids, where about half of our students are African American? It's not right.
Mm-hmm. So this bill, just so everybody knows, this bill that was proposed to pay off the debt. And let me just say, once again, my governor is, he's a slipster. My governor, Rick Snyder, is a slipster. So what he did in this bill, he put in a couple of more things. Number one, you don't have to be certified to teach at Detroit Public Schools. And he's done that allegedly for the benefit of the district.
No.
Okay. So you don't have to be, the plumber, the baker, the candy stick maker, anybody can just mess around with kids. Anybody. So that's number one. Number two, in this bill, I think it's HB 753. In this bill, you also do not have to bargain with the union. So we already know union busted, that's a wrap. The other thing is merit pay. We're going to, he's going to enforce merit pay for teachers. Now, I'm going to say this. If I work at a district, I don't know, I'm just going to throw one out there. Let's say I worked out in Grosse Pointe. And I had the caliber of students that they had. You know, they can do a growth. Okay?
Now, Dorian, quickly, for all of those not from Michigan, give a quick little overview of what that means.
Okay. How would you describe, Ray, do you know about Grosse Pointe?
Is it like Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I would say they're on the upscale. You have districts like Grosse Pointe, you have districts like Troy, West Bloomfield, and that's okay. That's okay. I don't have any
your demographic is upper class, white,
very upper class, very professional. Not a lot of free and reduced lunch. Not a lot of Title I situations going on. Yeah, they're not. I'm not going to say there are no kids of colors that go to that district, because there are. But, I mean, my son goes to Troy. My son is a child of color. He's a young black man. He goes to Troy. Just as he goes all white. Okay, you know what? I'm so tired of him.
Can't you see I'm blending on to her? Yes, she is.
But they're very much upscale. And can I take somebody and move them, you know, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year? Yes. And I probably have all the resources to do so. But when you talk about coming from a district where mushrooms is growing from the floor, from the wall, when the gym floors are warped, when you have to go through so many abandoned buildings just to get to your neighborhood school, when you're 100% Title I almost across the board, and some of our students have so much of a deficiency, and now you're talking about, okay, you're not working, so we're going to bring in somebody just off the street with no teaching experience whatsoever. Lachelle says mice. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. Mice in the building. And look, it's roaches in the building too, but they scared of the mice, so they try to find a different location.
There is not a single educator, regardless of what district you may work in, that has not gone through teacher training, had to take tests, had to pass certification exams. Many of us not only have a bachelor's degree, but master's, more than one master's, in your case, a doctorate. It's not about anybody off the street should be able to and could be able to come in and do the job. And there's not a single educator, no matter where they are in the U.S., who is in that position that would think it would be okay to degrade the position that they happen to work in by saying anybody could do that job. In fact, we're going to let them. That's where the lack of respect for educators has just been exacerbated that much more by that brief statement made last night in your legislation.
And what makes it so bad, the other thing he said is that we all have to reapply for our jobs next year.
No.
You're on mute, Heidi.
Is there anyone else that wants to join us on this great conversation? Any other educators from Detroit that want to jump in to explain to us their side of the story?
Or anybody that is in Michigan, if you would like to jump in, you could be a parent, you can be a taxpayer. I mean, it's still something that needs to be said. Also, is there anybody in here that wants to jump in and just talk about how politicians say anybody can do our job?
I think, personally, they need to come in at the beginning of the school year. And from April or even March, from spring break to the rest of the year, they should come in and see what goes on. Because I don't think they understand the different requirements they've put on us, especially if you're third grade and up. The testing, the different testing that they have to do, reading, math, writing, science, whatever it may be. Your ELL testing, your exam testing. Then you have to have grades and this and that. And then on top of that, we have conditions in many urban districts that are not even suited for student learning. I hate to say, there should not be a chalkboard in any school in America. That is from like the 1980s. And I've taught in another state, and I had a chalkboard. Detroit has chalkboards. I know in Chicago they have chalkboards. New York. Come on now. Who writes with chalk anymore? Ridiculous.
While we're waiting, I mean, I would love, I see several people over here that I haven't met before, but if you are someone in Detroit and feel comfortable, we would love for you to hit the call-in button. And while we're waiting to see if someone wants to come in, Dorian, I'm from a state that we don't have teacher unions. So can you explain to me the dynamic for what happened with the sick out, how the organization of that movement came, and what the ultimate result / goal was from the union perspective?
Well, it really wasn't anything that was so much strategized when we found out that if this bill doesn't go through, or if the state doesn't give us the money that they screwed up because we have been under emergency management since the year 1999. Big ups to Prince. But we've been under emergency management since 1999. So our last our last day to get paid was April. The last day that we worked where we would get paid was April 28th. So people definitely got on social media, and they were like, "Did you get the email? Did you get the email? Did you get the email?" And it pretty much was a spiral down effect. And people started talking about possibly having a sick out. And then Ivy Bailey, who is our interim president for Detroit Federation of Teachers, she held a meeting on Sunday at a church. Next thing I know, I'm getting texts from all my coworkers. We're sick.
And the goal behind that was if you put enough pressure by not showing up, the school couldn't function, and they would have to make some kind of decision in support of the teachers. Is that correct?
Yes. And what ended up happening, and let me say this, I didn't like the tone in which legislators spoke to us, because it was this is what I heard. This is what I heard locally. I heard that the White House called. And because President Obama just left Flint yesterday. So Tuesday, while we were out marching and rallying, it was said that the White House was in contact with both sides. And it was said that by the time Air Force One landed, allegedly, some kids better be back in some classrooms. That was what was allegedly said. Now, when President Obama got here to Flint, he was not a happy camper when he was talking about what was going on with the teachers. I have not seen the footage yet. I'm going to probably see it on YouTube and put the link on DCTV430. But based on what my mother said, my mother was like, he was very upset with the politicking that was going on in the House here in Michigan, and he didn't like it one bit. But the kickback to all of that, like the "I'ma get you sucker" kind of like thing for all of that. Yeah, you're gonna get your money. Go back to work. But what they don't tell you is, okay, and we're gonna fix your butt. We're gonna put you on merit pay. We're not gonna negotiate. We're not gonna do the bargaining table with your union, and we're gonna put anybody who is not certified. We're gonna put in those classrooms to those kids. And what was the other one? Oh shoot!
That you had to apply for your jobs again?
Oh, and you had to apply for your job again. And it was one more. It was another one. But yeah, they got out of control with it.
So with you returning on the job, have you guys been promised in some way that they have automatically found the extra money to get your paycheck to you?
Well, I'm going to say this. When we went back to work yesterday, a lot of people weren't happy. A lot of people thought that we should have did the whole week and then some. One teacher said, I quote, "That's the same promise that they gave us before in that email he sent us we can use for toilet paper, since DPS schools don't have their own toilet paper."
And Justin, I agree with that point. What's going to happen when there's no teachers left? Because if I was teaching there, I'm going to be looking for another job. I'm either going to go to other districts that treat teachers correctly. I'm going to move into a different field. And if I remember correctly, there's been some students that know what's going on, and they're unhappy because they know their good teachers are going to leave because they're tired of getting ran over and dragged behind the semi-truck day after day after day. So what's going to happen? Because I know here, my district is recruiting all the time because we're the 5th largest.
Las Vegas.
Hawaii's recruiting.
And what do you tell me all the time, Heidi? Don't you say all of Michigan is in Las Vegas?
We have a good chunk of Michiganders here because living is reasonable, pay's not too shabby. You know, they treat us, decent as well as across the, United States. Teachers don't have the best name, but that's all right. But we're not getting trampled on day in and day after. I know tomorrow my check's going to come on the 10th. I'm going to be able to feed myself.
And Heidi, one of the points you made is you said even some of the students know that the good teachers are probably going to leave them. And I can tell you from experience in the classroom and from knowing wonderful educators like Dorian and like you, that when a child says, my good teacher's leaving, they're not talking about the teacher that let me watch movies and do nothing in class and slip around. They mean we know a teacher that cares about us, that wants us to learn, that holds me to expectations and standards, might not be there. And that's the part that's like, out of the mouth of babes, they say. If a kid says, "Don't leave us, good teacher," Dr. Dorian, it's a hard thing.
And they do tell you. I had one kid today, because there was a long-term sub before I took this position, say, "Miss Carr, we just love you. The last teacher, we just sat and did nothing. Even though you drive us nuts, we know you have our best interests, and we're so glad you push us, even though sometimes we don't want to come because we know your class is challenging." But they want that. Everyone feeds for structure and wants to learn, and we're just dooming a generation. Michigan is dooming a generation of kids, and it is disheartening. I really wish I was a millionaire. I'd pack up the whole city of Detroit and pay for them to go where they would want to go, because what's going on in that state is awful. They're bankrupt. I think the whole state's bankrupt, and they're all crooks up above in your legislature.
And that's what it is. Wait a minute. That's what it is.
They bailed out
that's what it is, Heidi.
the damn auto people.
Hold on. That's what it is. That's the point that I keep forgetting. I forgot. The teachers wanted a forensic audit, because where did this money that was supposed to go in escrow, where did it go? And I want you to know, all 11, baby, I got all of their names. All 11 of them voted no. All of them voted no from a forensic audit. So let me say this, because you got to take, I'm a firm believer in Justin, who was directing this segment of the show. He says this all the time. You got to take the good with the bad. So yes, we've been in the paper because we had 13 principals who took kickbacks and who took bribery and didn't file the taxes with the IRS. So got it. But if you can go follow those 13 principals for 2 years, because see, when the feds come for you, they take their time. If they can follow them for 2 years, and you mean to tell me they can't cough it up to do a forensic audit? Are you serious with yourself right now? And that was the other thing. They said, no, hands down. Well, guess who else didn't get a forensic audit? The city of Flint with their water.
They're hiding something. See, I'd be that sly teacher accidentally leaving flyers up around my neighborhood saying you need to start marching because you're tax paying. Maybe the people in Detroit and Flint don't pay taxes. I don't know.
Oh, yes, we do.
They need to start protesting because that is their money that is being flushed down the toilet into those knuckleheads' back pockets.
And if I posted on Facebook how much the Senate, anybody that's on Michigan House of Senate, how much they get paid, they don't come to work for free. But they want me to.
And they get kickbacks.
And Dorian, I
lunches.
want to clarify. Did you say earlier that you guys have had an emergency manager since 1999? For 17 years, you've been in emergency status.
Yep.
That they haven't been able for 17 years.
Yep.
To figure out how to get
now, mind you, Robert Bob was our first emergency manager, and we had a surplus. We had a surplus in our budget. I want you to also know that Detroit teachers, when the going got tough, they took a 10% concession cut in their salaries to loan to the district, so we wouldn't go bankrupt for the children.
That's ridiculous.
And then all I want to do is get paid till next fall during the course of the summer with money that you already took out my check. So where did it go? And when I ask you where did it go, you want to shut me down and tell me get back in the classroom to work like you my slave owner. I don't make many promises. I don't. I don't. Because half of the promises that I want to make, I can't afford to make. But this is a promise I'm going to tell you that I'm going to make. And you're going to have it right here, and it's going to be archived. I always tell the story. Christy Kate knows the story. Heidi knows the story. Valerie knows the story. Justin knows the story. They know I get all involved with court cases. And HBO just finished showing Confirmation with Kerry Washington. And one of the things with the whole congressional hearings with Anita Hill was the president of the National Organization of Women promised Joe Biden that if he didn't see the other woman that wanted to testify, she would make his life a living hell and he would never be able to run for president. Now, let me tell you something. I know that old white woman still living. And you done heard a lot of rumors about Joe Biden wanting to run for president, but he ain't chuckled in his little name on no ballot, has he? I'm telling you, for the 11 people that voted no for that fiscal audit that took away money from those Detroit public school kids, I am making it my promise to you. I'm going to make sure you do not get reelected. I'm going to make sure to it. You mess with the wrong group of kids. That is unfair to them.
I completely agree. And the sad thing is my grandfather, I live in Nevada, West Coast. And my grandfather called me the other day to inform me what was going on. And he was just appalled. And on my way home from work, we were talking today, and he was informing, because he's retired, so he's been keeping up. And he just cannot believe what is happening to our youth and the profession of teaching. It's just absolutely disgusting.
I don't care if I'm the baker, the candlestick maker tomorrow. I don't care if I leave education. On my watch, you won't be reelected. I promise you that. And I have your names. I have your names. You won't be reelected. You won't be reelected. We're going to close out tonight. This was a good conversation. This is my first time threatening somebody on social media. I guess I did some cyberbullying. I apologize. I want you guys to keep in mind, just to stay very, very informed. Don't get lazy. Just don't check off the ballot box. Really, really do some investigation as to who you're voting for. There are apps that you have where you can see who your legislator, your congressman, your senator, what they are voting on, when they vote, how often they vote. Those are very important things to have, because the life you save, the vote that's taken may be a vote that's coming for you. I'm a firm believer that this is a trickle-down effect. If Governor Snyder if he's successful, you're going to have governors like Snyder. You're going to have governors like Christie over in Jersey. And I already knew that he didn't like teachers, and I worked for a Jersey paper when he got elected. So on a good note tonight, happy Mother's Day, happy graduation, happy Father's Day. I want you to check out our website. We got some neat little gift ideas for all of the above. And congratulations. It's not an extra paycheck for us teachers.
And we also want you guys to know, stay tuned for next week. As you are watching the next 2 weeks, please vote. Because us, four fabulous ladies, and Valerie is still here, are trying to have you guys pick for us our mini vacation. So vote. Should you come to Sin City? I think so. Should you go to Detroit? Maybe.
Yeah,
Texas?
Detroit!
Sure. Or should we go to the ATL? It's up to you, our viewers, to decide where the four of us finally get to meet in person. So thank you so much for chirping in and celebrating with us and discussing and debriefing these hot topics that are going around globally lately. Join us in 2 weeks, May 19th, for Mirror, Mirror on the Wall.
Love you guys. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
I am not trying to be. When I dance, they call me Madonna, and the boys they say to the when they all want me, they can't have me, so they all come and dance me back. With me, share with me, and